Hi, this is Linda. I hope you guys are having a good evening, and welcome, friends. I'm doing a DIY video with you this evening. The sun's going down and it's really very pretty, and I was working on some things today, and I thought that I might go ahead and try to finish up this white wreath here that I bought. I really thought it was quite a pretty wreath. It's all white, very sparkly, and I had this red and gold ribbon that I had done for something else and didn't use it, so I thought I would go ahead and put it on this smaller wreath and do something with it. It's a little bit big, but I think it looks really nice with it, so I think this is going to be a good project for me to go ahead and get finished up. And I'm just trying to fluff this bow a little bit. I've been kind of dragging it around. So I'm going to go ahead and work on this. The other, it's not going to be too decorated with, or lavishly, I guess I should say. I'm just going to do it a little simpler this time. I'm just going to use basically the ribbon. I do have this really cute little Santa Claus head with his little cape and his pretty furry beard and everything. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to attach him to that wreath. I also have these pine cone ornaments. They're just a plastic pine cone ornament meant to be hung. And I've been decorating them. They're all sparkly, like they have frost on them. And I want to finish decorating them because I've been adding these little colorful, sparkly balls to them. I cut them off of a pick that I have, and just so I could keep those. These are, the one is kind of it's not really a gold, it's kind of a bronzy color. And then I have these real pretty deep burgundy sparkly little round balls that I've been gluing them on there. Because if you kind of look at the pine cone from this position rather than this way, the way you normally hang it, it reminded me of a Christmas tree. So I decided, well, it's a Christmas tree, it needs some bulbs put on it. So that's what I'm doing. I'm putting bulbs on my pine cone Christmas tree. And I have one that I need to finish up. Oh, here it is. I already have two of them done, and I was just going to show you how, what the process was and what I had done to finish that up. So it's just, you need your trusty handy dandy glue gun and squirt some glue every so often on here. I'll start with the gold ones first. And one thing, if you'll notice on this pine cone that I happened to see, was that if you start like in between a couple of, well, they're not really petals, they're, gosh, I can't think what they're called, but they kind of separate and there's like a little blank space in there. But if you'll notice, it also goes around. If you follow this twisting line, it spirals all the way from the bottom to the top. And I'm going to follow that little spiral line on here and just keep gluing these little balls on there. So that when I get the gold ones on, I'll go to the burgundy ones, and you can see here again where that break is between the pine cone needle. Well, it's not really a needle in there, but anyway, that little break in the pine cone that will break open, and as you follow it around, you'll see it spirals from the bottom to the top. So I'm just going to go ahead and keep gluing these on every so often in that little section. And I was starting with the gold ones, or the bronze colored ones, which I really like. So it just gives it a nice, and see how it's beginning to do that little spiral there. So keep following it around and gluing these on. Really had a pretty quiet day. I hope you guys did too. My husband has been busy painting the laundry area. I have my washer and dryer in my kitchen, and I've recently painted my kitchen and changed it around and fixed it all up. But the wash area, my husband decided that he would take those doors off of it, and he would also paint that space where the washer and dryer go. Unfortunately, fortunately, really, I have a very small house, and my laundry area is at the end of my kitchen. I don't have a separate wash space, but that's okay. And so once we get this all painted up, the only thing that will be left to do will be the pantry, and we'll get that all painted the new color scheme as well. And then once that's done, or possibly before, I'm going to do another video and show you my project and the paint color that I chose, and show you everything all done. So then I'll see if you guys like it or not. I don't know about you, but I love having a project to do. Keeps me busy, keeps me from getting too bored. And then of course I have to motivate my husband so that he's willing to help me on those projects, which he always is, so I can't complain about that. He's always willing to pitch in and do his share too. And there we go. There's the first row all swirling around. Oh, I got glue on me. And then I'm going to switch off to, I think we need one there, to the red next. So I will pick a spot, and I think I'm going to do that close to the bottom. I'll start down here next to the gold. And I will start applying these. I'll just be glad when the last of the painting is all wrapped up. We can clean up, put it away, and that project is all wrapped up. And then I suppose the next project that we'll be working on is to paint the living room. It needs a fresh coat of paint on it. So I think we will probably do that next. As if I don't have enough to do already, but that's okay. I'll have to take a blow dryer to this one once I'm done as well. So I always have these little strings from that hot glue. And if you just use a blow dryer on them, they melt very quickly. And then you don't have to look at those strings. Well, I don't know how I got that little gold ball tucked in there, but somehow I did, and that should be a red, not a gold. Picked up the wrong one. Ugh, got strings. I look like I got spider webs all over me. I'm going to try to get this done quickly if I can. So I want to spend a little more time on putting that wreath together for you. so you can see how that's going to be. So I'll hurry along with this one. And I might have to finish this up later. Ooh, a gold one, no, red. I must be having trouble seeing one, I can't tell one color from another, I guess. So I keep picking up the wrong one. And I got glue strings all over. Okay. All right. And that's pretty much how it gets started out. And then I'm just going to continue on the same way and just applying those little balls. They're soft cottony, that spun cotton and then dipped in the glitter, so they're real soft. But it gives it a really nice sparkle, I think, and it should add a nice detail to that wreath as well. We'll see how that looks. And we'll need another red here. Okay, and then that's the way I'll just continue on. But I think I'll just kind of hold off on this and finish it up because I've got two of them done already, and I wasn't really sure if I wanted this third one on there or not. And I'm also going to put some glue around this cap at the top. This one here is a little bit loose, and I don't want to lose that cap because that's what I would use to wire it to that frame. And on the bow, since I've already made it ahead of time, because they take me a little bit of time to put together, one of these days I'm going to have to do a whole tutorial, although I'm sure you've probably seen so many bow making tutorials that you probably don't want to look at another one, because it's basically the same that everyone else is doing. And I thought I brought a spool of ribbon out with me. Yeah, hold on just a minute. Here it is. Not the same color. I've got a green ribbon here. Real pretty sparkly green with gold swirls on it. And I usually just lay the spool on the floor and work from there. Measure off, about 30 inches or so of a tail to start with. And these I usually just kind of eyeball as to the size of, I think I'll do it this way. Sometimes it turns out better this way for me. And then just pull this one towards me, the first loop. Put that off to the side. I don't need that right now. But maybe 4 or 5 inches for the first loop. Scrunch it all together into my finger and under my finger and my thumb. And as you can see, the ribbon is only one-sided. The design's only printed on that one side. So we're going to want to roll that over. So we have printed side up again. And we're going to make another loop on that side, approximately the same size as this one here that we made. We want to try to keep them as even as we can. And I'm going to scrunch that into my fingers. Make sure I've got that all in place the way I want it. And then flip that over again. Make make a side loop off to the side of that, just slightly longer than the first loop. As you can see, it's just slightly longer. Flip it over again. Make another loop, approximately the same size as that one, and a little bit longer than this first loop. So now we have 4 loops. And then we're going to flip that one over, cut this one in the other direction. Try to keep it about as long as the opposite loop. So now we have that one. Flip the ribbon over again. Make another loop. Okay. Now we're getting it. It's starting to fill out. Okay, I've got that so far. And then I will make another loop here, longer than these 3. Scrunch that in between my thumb and my finger. And flip the ribbon over again. Put this loop in between, in the middle of the other 2. And now I want another side loop. Well, this is getting a little harder to hold on to. After a while, it starts to cramp my fingers. Okay. And now we have to flip the ribbon again. You can add as many of these loops as you want, depending on how full you want that bow to be and how many layers of this ribbon you can hang on to. Because the more you have in there, the more difficult it is to hold on to, and the more cramped your fingers begin to feel. So I usually don't go much further than that. Right there, this will be my last loop. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 loops there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And this will be the 6th loop on the other side. Flip the ribbon over again and make the last loop. Okay. Alrighty. Got that last loop in there. Everything's all scrunched up in between my fingers. I have the tail of this one. Make sure you do roll that ribbon over so that you have all ribbons right side facing you. And then you want to find your chenille stem and work this in between your fingers and through the center of the loops. Pull it all to the back, tight as you can. Work this all in together. And get it between your thumb and your index finger and give this a nice hard twist, because you really want this to be tight or you're going to lose that bow. Okay, and I give it several twists going down the chenille stem. Okay, now once you get that done comes the real fun part, which is the fluffing time. So you can fluff up all of your loops on your bow and fix those up the way you want them. There's usually not too much that you have to do after this, because you've laid your loops in all the right places while you were putting it together. So there's really not a whole lot that you will need to do with this one then to get it fixed. I'm going to go ahead and cut these. I want to dovetail them. So I will just fold those together, get my scissors. I will start from there, cut down. And that gives that a pretty, come back, I almost lost it. Gives your streamers a nice dovetail edge. And then you just go ahead and smooth this out. Curl it if you want it to curl in whatever direction you want it to curl in. And work with your loops again. Make sure you still have those placed, not all scrunched up in your hand. Not too flattened out. And there's a green one. I think that one turned out pretty good. What do you think? I don't know if that simplified the instructions any for you or not. Just make sure that you pay attention to the ribbon. If it's one-sided or two, if it has the same design on both sides and you really can't tell much difference between the front and the back, then you don't have to worry about rolling that ribbon all the time unless you want to. But I kind of get in the habit of doing that, so I end up doing it on all my ribbon, but it's not something that you have to if it's printed both sides. But this one isn't, so of course I had to roll it. Okay, quit playing with it. I'm done. All right. And here, that's basically, that's just exactly how I made this particular bow as well. And the ribbon is one-sided, doesn't have the design on the back side, just on the front. This is a little difficult wreath to work with because it's pokey in the first place, very stiff. All this styrofoam on here, those little tiny balls, very stiff, very pokey. So one thing that I want to do is on this ribbon, these streamers, I want to move these over to the side. And I want to just tuck these into the wreath in a couple of spaces. So I'm going to kind of separate the styrofoam, and I'm going to put some glue in there if I can get this positioned correctly. I'm going to put some glue in there, and I've got this little stick that I want to use, and I will make a loop like that, scrunch my ribbon together, and poke that into the space where the glue is. So that's what the stick is for. So I'll press it down in there as far as I can, and I have that loop. That way you don't have to tie it in place. You don't have to use a wire. You don't have to use a chenille stem. You can't use these little pieces to tie it with, even though they are on a wire. They're just not big enough, and they don't really move that well. So I'm going to run these little loops down the outside ring of this. Position them how far apart I like to see them be, and as big a loop as I want that looks good to me. This is another thing, it's just kind of by sight. How do you like it to look? What appeals to you? And that's pretty much how decorating is. It's kind of to your taste, what you like, what appeals to you, and that's what you run with. Okay, let me scrunch this back up. I'm going to lose it otherwise. And I'm going to get my stick again and poke the ribbon in there. So that's what it looks like on this side once you get it poked in. And then I think I will leave a bit of a tail to run down the side a little bit more. Okay. So that gave me a couple of loops, well, about 3 loops really. And I want to do the same thing on the other side. I want to take this loop. I want to put some glue in here. So the glue is going to grab a hold of that ribbon. I'll use my little stick and I will poke the ribbon in there where that glue is. I kind of thought it might hold without the glue, but I don't want to take any chances because if somebody actually pulled on the ribbon trying to fix something, they could pull the ribbon right out of the wreath. So I think the glue is probably a good way to do this one. Now I'm going to put in the next loop and put some glue in there. Press the ribbon into that spot. Okay, so I have another little loop there. I have my hanky. Wouldn't you know my nose would start running. And since I have a longer streamer on this side, I can go a little further with the loops on the side. Yeah, that's pretty good. We'll do it there. Watch your finger on these too so that you don't get your finger down in there in that hot glue. Which I'm sure we have all done, and doggone that hurts. Because it just sticks on there. Okay. Okay. And that's what I have for the ribbon so far. Got that all put in place. I think that looks real nice. The little stick works perfectly to poke that ribbon in there. The glue will hold it in position once that cools down and sets. That'll hold that in position. And now the little head, Santa's little head. This had a very long stick on it, so I cut it off, shorten that up, and I want to press him, kind of poke him into, and this is not very, I noticed when I kind of put him in there the first time, trying to figure out how long I had to cut that, it's a little hard to poke that in there, but I think I found a spot where it might work. And I'll shoot some glue in there, which I may end up needing more, but I'll put some in there for now. Come on, come on, come on. Okay. I can get him into position here. I think it needs a little more glue. I'll let that run down in there. So there it is with Santa's little head in there. Oh, that's looking pretty good, I think. Looks nice. And I think that's going to hold him pretty good. All right, then I'll make sure these are, yeah, that's tight. And I want a piece of wire. I'm going to make this one pretty long. I don't know exactly how long it needs to be. So there's a little extra. Thank goodness it has that little holder on there. It's better to have too much than not enough. So, and this will go around the wreath like I did the chenille stem at the top. When I put the ribbon on there. In this case though, I'm just going to use wire. This is very prickly, it catches on everything. Pull that good and tight. Position it where you want it to be. And then lay that down and get these twisted together. Okay. Oh, it came off. Urgh. Well, we'll shoot some glue on this. I didn't think it would do that. I'll be darned. There we go. Well, threat. Looks like I have to let that sit for a little bit. Well, I'll hold that in place and see if that helps it. Once that cools down some, I'm sure it will. guess it isn't. I'll put the second one in. You know, sometimes you get an idea that you think is a really brilliant one that turns out to be not quite so smart. It's such a good idea as you originally thought. I thought it would be oh so easy, but the pine cones are a little more than I thought they would be, because I sure thought that would stay in place. And it didn't, so we'll do the best we can. And I can always tweak it later then. But I just want to get this part finished up so you kind of get an idea of where I had intended to go with it. Like I said, if I don't like this, I'll just retweak it. And maybe I need some heavier wire for this, which I can always do. Okay, little Santa. Okay, then once I have that third one done, I will place it here, most likely, so that I have all the weight of it more on this side, I think, rather than trying to evenly distribute it. I'll keep it. Or I might put this one over here on this side. That might work too. But this is it, my little white Christmas wreath, white and red Christmas wreath, all done with my pretty red and gold ribbon, my pine cone trees, and my little Santa character in the center then. What do you think? Not too bad? Well, thank you for joining me, being patient with me as I struggle through this one a little bit. And until we meet again, may God bless. Thank you. Have a good evening.